Okay, so let's go into your reading. At the center of the spread, I have the Two of Wands. And the Two of Wands, it is a relationship card. It's a relationship focused card as well. But the thing about the Two of Wands that differs from, the other relationship cards is that one person is in the relationship and is projecting a lot of hopes, a lot of dreams into this relationship. One person is, trying to get something off the ground, and the other person might not be there physically or even emotionally. And I feel like if you're dealing with somebody who has been like very MIA in the relationship, you both are gonna make up some decisions about this relationship and whether or not to even move forward at all. Okay. And I do feel like we are ending up with the Two of Cups as well as the King of Cups, which indicates to me that the other person is going to try to meet you halfway, and at least like the feelings are being reciprocated enough where you both are going to arrive at a decision to move the relationship to the next level. So I do feel some really positive relationship vibes coming into this spread. I feel like for some of you in the past, I feel like you might have compromised too much. Okay. And all relationships, all interpersonal relationships require a lot of compromise. It's give and take. It's putting ourselves in the other person's shoes to understand where they're coming from. But when one person is doing all the compromising, it's a very unfair situation. So I feel like in the past, a lot of you compromised, gave up a lot of yourself in order to accommodate another person. And I feel like this can be in work specifically, where you might have done that. And it could also be in relationships as well, where you give and give and give a lot of yourself, okay? And this is going to be mutual as well. But I feel like the energy, I'm reading it from your point of view. So I feel like you were the one that's bending over backwards to accommodate the situation. And I feel like there's something here about conflict avoidant. There's something here about not wanting to get our hands dirty. So that means, airing out dirty laundry. You don't want to do that. So you might simply appease the other person to make the conflict go away. And I feel like over time, it does take away from your own sense of exercising your free will. It does take away from your own sense of like standing up for the things that you truly believe in. When we don't confront situations head on, and when we try to sweep things under the rug, hoping that they will go away, they always inevitably come back. And especially during Mercury in retrogrades, old problems always creep up so that we can deal with them and lay them to rest, resolve them, and move forward. Okay. So I feel like some past energies is resurfacing, not so much as a person, but as like the problematic ways in which we have dealt with a situation in the past concerning another person, where we might not have like stood up for the things that we wanted, we value, or we might have like over like compromised just to appease the other person. And I feel like right now you have come to the conclusion that I need to be a little bit more firm when it comes to the things that I value, the things that I want. I need to be a little bit more directed and not invest my energy in people that don't reciprocate to the same extent that I do. So I definitely see some reassessment when it comes to how you conduct yourself in relationships. Okay. You're showing up here as the Queen of Swords, and the Queen of Swords is somebody who is very, very balanced. This is male or female, but I'm reading this card specifically as the energy that comes from it, as somebody who does have a lot of love to give. She has been through a lot in her relationships, and she is wise and smart, and she's kind of like a little bit on guard, but I feel like that's okay, because you're going to need to be on top of the game. You're going to need to be a lot more discerning than you have been in the past in order to deal with whatever is presenting itself to you at the present moment. Okay. What I do feel is for a lot of you, there is a water sign, a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising in your midst. Okay. And I feel like this is somebody that does want a relationship. In the past, they might have been like just very wrapped up with their own life, their own financial situation, their own, inner turmoil and their own circumstances. And I feel like you gave a lot to this person. You were always there, like providing like a shoulder to lean on, giving advice, giving very good counsel, and fixing them up when they were broken. I feel that. And I feel like this is the month in which they are starting to realize the value and the help that you provided them in the past. And if they have taken you for granted, I don't feel like they're taking advantage of you. I feel like they come with a lot of love, but they were going through a phase in their lives where they were trying to get their financial situation sorted out. They were trying to I feel like just, maintain themselves, just get through life. And I feel like they might not have shown you the appreciation that was owed to you. And I feel like this is the month in which they are coming through. And there's kind of like that peace offering, and where they tell you what you mean to them, and they tell you these things that you have been wanting to hear for quite some time. So I feel like this outpouring of love coming through from a water sign, okay? Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. For some of you, this situation might have come a little bit too belatedly. So what I mean is, you might have dealt with this for quite some time, and I feel like whatever peace offering, whatever gesture that they're giving you, it might have been like a little bit too late and you have already moved on, okay? So I do sense that, and I feel like this heavy energy between a water sign and a fire sign. So for others of you, you might have like transitioned from a water sign and now you're emerging in a new relationship with possibly a fire sign, a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo, sun, moon, or rising. And vice versa, you might be in a relationship with a fire sign who is a little bit non-committal, who is a little bit more like looking for more fun and excitement rather than stability. So I feel like you might transition from them to a water sign. So I feel this transition happening for you. So a major decision shift in a relationship is coming through. If it hasn't already, I definitely feel like if you've made a choice but you weren't sure yet, I definitely feel like within the next 2 weeks, you're going to be pretty sure about the choices that you've made and whether or not you need to make adjustments, okay? And I feel like making adjustments is fine as long as we are sure that that's something that we want. And I feel like by the end of this month, you're going to be certain about a choice that you've made as it pertains to relationship partners and as it pertains to like who you want to keep in your life and who is no longer welcomed is what I'm feeling. So the other thing that I'm sensing here is I almost feel like if you have recently ended a relationship, like you have decided to separate. If you were married, you are, and you might have gone through a very, very recent separation, and you're not really sure about whether or not to proceed with the divorce. I feel that you're going to go ahead with the divorce this month, okay? And I say that mainly because I feel like you or the significant person in the person that you're married to might be in love with somebody else. So I feel like you might have somebody else that you are very much enamored with, and they likewise have been trying to get you back, but I feel like they're going in a different direction altogether. So if you're dealing with a separation, I feel like it's going to come to an end, and that means, you might sit down and discuss a divorce, for example. For others of you, I feel like you know that the divorce is imminent. And I feel like you're still very, very, very physically attracted to another person. You feel almost like, you both are like, it's really confusing because we do have the Lovers card as well as the Two of Cups. And on top of that is the Seven of Swords. So I feel like there might have been some infidelity in the past, and that's why you're currently separated. So you or the other person, it can be both people. There was some indiscretion. There was an infidelity in the past. You both have separated. You both are like, you really love the other person, and I feel like they really love you too. So it was like a minor, um, I don't want to say minor, because infidelity is never ever a minor thing, and it's not just like a lapse of judgment. It takes like a lot to get to that point. So I feel like if you are separated because of infidelity and you are deciding whether or not to go through with a divorce, I feel like there is temptation here to go back and have like a physical, a sexual relationship with that person. And what I'm sensing is that the temptation is definitely there. And even if the third party is not in the picture, there's always going to be that temptation. So if you can justify to yourself, I want to do this because I really feel connected to the other person, and, things like that. I feel like that's up to you, but I just want you to know that the temptation is not exclusively with this one person. The temptation is always going to be there. So whether or not this relationship is going to last into the future, that's to be determined. The probability is very low. It can be enhanced if you both go see counseling, or go get counseling, or see a marriage counselor or a therapist to try to make things work. That will definitely increase the likelihood that it can work out in the future. But I don't normally advise people to go back to exes, mainly because I do feel that, whatever lessons that needed to be learned from that relationship, it has been cultivated, it has been learned. And I feel like you're still dealing with a little bit of a conflict within yourself as to what you need to do, because I feel like there's still a lot of love here, okay? And specifically, if you have been divorced or separated, specifically from a water sign, I feel like this person, so Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, they want to come back in. There's a peace offering. They want to make amends, but I feel like you have moved on. You have tried to move on. In the past, this might have worked, but I feel like for this month, you're kind of turning your back, is what I'm seeing. Like you're turning your back, and you're just like, no, I don't want to get hurt again. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with your own pride, but at the heart of it, that this is not, that the time is over. That relationship has run its course, and that you need to protect yourself above all else. Okay. So I'm getting like heavy energies of like past relationships in all forms, in all shapes, coming back in for re-examination. And I feel like it's not just something pervasive for the next 2 weeks. I feel like this has been an ongoing issue, possibly for the past 2 months that you've been grappling with. So since we are in September, so like since July, I feel like you've been going back and forth in your mind with this situation. And a lot of you might have children with another person. So you're kind of like going back and forth. Should I or shouldn't I? Should I keep this marriage? Should I, like go through with the divorce, or should I rekindle and reconnect because of the children? And, the children are fine. This is a decision that you have to somehow take the children out of, mainly because I feel like this is the karma between you and the significant other that you might want to work through, or that you might need to come to terms with. And I feel like no matter what, for the next 2 weeks, you're going to make a choice, and you're going to be very, very firm and sure, like certain with that choice, so that you're not going to be, straddling between the old and the new, and constantly second guessing yourself whether or not you've made the right decision. So I definitely feel some clarity coming through for you as to what you need to do. And I feel like more than anything, a lot of you know what you need to do. A lot of you are simply done, and you're ready to move on, But I feel like a part of you, mainly, is like tied up with the children. And a big part of you is tied up with the fact that you have a long history together, and you want to forgive, and you want to give it another try. And I feel like the outpouring of love and the peace offering from the other person is very sincere, and you are aware that it is very sincere. So you want to give it another try. But I feel that no matter whatever decision you make right now, by the end of the month, for the next 2 weeks by the end of this month. I feel like you will have a lot more clarity and you will feel a lot more sure about what you need to do. So I know like that's kind of open-ended, but I feel like for some of you, you're going to, um, if you feel like I need to give this another go just because, out of respect for the other person, out of respect for everything that we shared, everything that we've been through together, I feel, especially if there has been some past indiscretion involved, like cheating, somebody stepping out of the relationship, and I definitely feel if it's with a water sign, they are sincere, okay? If it's with a fire sign, I feel like it's the same old, same old. So I do sense that coming through where, one person is like putting in a lot of the work and the other person is kind of inconsistent. I do feel there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of chemistry, but it's not enough for longevity. So I feel like you are deciding between a fire sign and a water sign heavily, and you're, still grappling with this dilemma about, how can I be sure if the last relationship didn't work out? How can I be sure that I need to invest in this person and this person solely? So there's a lot here about, not wanting to put your eggs in one basket because you're afraid of getting hurt. There's also this element here about, I feel like the clock is ticking. So especially for you women out there, I feel like you're wanting to settle down, have a relationship, and have something solid so that you can, um, start a family. So I feel that. Or you might feel like your children are growing up and you might want to like, you might feel like you want to settle, and you might feel like you like settle down. I don't mean to settle for less, but I mean like settle down so that your children have a little bit more stability in their lives, okay? So you might be like, okay, this is a really good person. I really like him or her because they're a good mother or father, etc. But you want to, I feel like you both see eye to eye, but there might be chemistry that is lacking. So if you're dealing with a brand new person and you have children, I feel like you might feel like somebody is a really good, mother or father, and you want them to be in your children's lives. But I feel like the chemistry is a little bit absent in the relationship. So you have to take the children out of the equation, and you have to really think about what's good for you, okay? And I don't mean in a way where it's like finding, a deadbeat and having them around your children. I'm not suggesting that at all. What I mean is you want to be smart about the decision. And one of the things that a lot of the times we can't make a very, clear and conscious decision is like we make things a lot more complicated than it needs to be, okay? So if the relationship is between you and another person, you want to keep everything out of it and make that decision exclusively between you and the other person. Take out the money, take out the jobs, take out the family situation, take out, whatever external influences that's affecting your ability to make this decision about yourself and about the other person. So doing that first and then deciding what you want to do, and then working the other elements around that. That's going to be the better way to go, okay? And I feel like this is what you might be grappling with. So if you kind of like look at I guess zoom in a little bit and look at the core, I guess like purpose, like what is this decision? What does it entail? Who's actually immediately affected right now? So it's you and the other person. So try to make it from that, that standpoint. Okay. So, finances, I feel it is a little bit stable for those. It's stable, excuse me. For those of you who are like shifting jobs, careers, and things like that, I do feel there are some, favorable things coming your way when it comes to jobs. I do feel interviews, but I don't feel like you're going to solidify jobs until like the November timeframe is what I'm sensing. So, and I feel like the later part of November when we are verging on the time of Sagittarius, okay? So I do sense that coming through. So overall, it is going to be a very, very decisive next 2 weeks, Libra. So, try to keep yourself level-headed, okay? Make this decision.